What if the only thing keeping the darkness out was the same thing proving the darkness was already in? That was Ronny's hell. Not a sudden, violent, blazing kind of hell, but the quiet, creeping, cold kind. The kind that settles deep in an isolated cabin under the pall of a moonless, never-ending night. He was just a raccoon, a scrappy young adult, usually built for agility and the quick scramble of survival. But here, in this shadow-choked silence, the entity, the shadow, it had no eyes, no teeth, no claws. It was a shapeless blot that consumed silence and light, yet it feared a single thing: a mask. A carved piece of wood or metal, worn over the face, offered a brief, blessed reprieve. The act of looking through eye holes, it seemed, established a boundary, a separation between the watcher and the vast emptiness. Ronny's fur was messy, often unkempt, but around his eyes, fate had drawn an indelible line. The classic black raccoon bandit mask. At first, he thought it was a gift. The shadow had never been able to truly touch him. He just had to keep his eyes open, to rely on the natural demarcation nature had given him. Simple. Too simple. The paranoia began with the water basin. He leaned down to drink, and the reflection that stared back had felt off. The intelligent black eyes were sharp, yes, but the fur surrounding them seemed too uniform, too perfectly placed. His fur was always a bit scruffy, a bit ruffled. Was this perfection the first sign of the invasion? He shattered the basin. What if it doesn't just fear the mask, but fears you noticing the mask? He'd whisper to himself, his voice raspy. He started collecting debris, bent cans, cracked leather, broken glass, anything he could shape into a crude physical eye mask, strapping them over the black fur that he already possessed. He layered them, wood on top of leather, leather on top of rusted tin. The physical weight felt like protection, but every time he glanced at a slick surface, the layers seemed to blur. Was the shadow wearing the mask, or was the mask wearing him? One evening, staring into a dull kitchen knife, he saw it. The reflection smiled, a wide, unnervingly calm smile that didn't match the frantic fear twisting Ronny's own inquisitive face. But the reflection still wore the black mask of fur, and here is the awful blinding truth. The jaw-dropping moment of sheer identity crisis. Ronny realized the shadow wasn't trying to scare him. It was trying to replace him. The shadow didn't fear the mask at all. It feared exposure. It needed a face to hide its nothingness. And what better disguise than one already defined by a perfect natural mask? The climax struck when Ronny caught his own shadow, cast on the cabin wall by a tiny oil lamp. He saw the distinctive black outline of his eyes. Then, a flicker. A second outline appeared, hovering just behind the first. He spun around, frantic, his fur standing on end, in pure, unadulterated terror. Nothing. Just the shadows of the lonely, isolated room. He grabbed the knife. The only way to know for certain if the face he was looking through was his was to remove the pretense. Not the layered, clumsy masks he built, but the original, the permanent one. He raised the blade. His breathing stopped. He could feel the shapeless entity pressing against the back of his mind, whispering cold satisfaction. He brought the knife down, not on his eyes, but just beneath them, digging into the beautiful dark fur, tearing at the natural bandit mask. A searing pain, but no blood. He looked at the knife. A clean strip of his own black fur lay curled on the steel. He frantically started pulling, scraping away the defining features that framed his gaze. He looked into a shard of glass. The dark fur was gone, replaced by pink scarred flesh. The shadow, now stripped of its perfect camouflage, shrieked, a silent sound that shook the dust from the rafters. Ronny had finally created a boundary by destroying his own predetermined identity. But the victory was momentary. The shadow retreated. Yes, but Ronny was left alone, in the endless dark, holding a mirror to a face he no longer recognized. Was he Ronny, the raccoon built for scrambling? Or was he just a terrified young adult in a cabin, forever scarred by the knowledge that the perfect disguise is never the one you choose?